Hi, Scott Machine Gun Dad. Welcome back to the channel. Got Nick here with me. I acquired a couple new pistols. In this case, I got a 1076 Smith & Wesson. This one is a law enforcement gun. Let's move in close and I'll show you why I know it's a law enforcement gun. We moved in close on the 1076 to show you several features. First of all, you can see a lot of holster wear where the stainless has been polished up from being in and out of the holster. The decocking lever, the fact that there's no lever here that is the decocker safety, the bobbed hammer, the actual model number where it says 1076. You can see the sights are dovetailed in. These are night sights, but they don't light up anymore. They're long. Well, the gun is almost 50 years old, so night sights don't last that long. But you can see the wear, but it's a stainless steel gun. It doesn't really matter. There's not a lot of grip wear, which to me indicates the gun wasn't shot a lot. It was just in a holster a lot, indicating to me police use. Flip it over. We're going to stall pause it and we're going to flip it over. I flipped it over, and we're not going to pan or anything because this is really hard to see. Right here is your Smith & Wesson emblem, but right up in here, and this is what leads me to believe this was a law enforcement gun. It says, caution or warning, gun can be fired, firearm can be fired with magazine removed. If you're familiar with third generation Smith & Wessons, most of them have what they call magazine disconnect. You pull the magazine out and the gun disconnects the trigger and it doesn't fire. Law enforcement could specially order these guns with that defeated from the factory. And when they did that at the factory, they added this engraving. That was what leads me to believe this was at one time a police officer's gun. Alright, saw it up close. Let's move back out. You just saw it up close. You saw the markings where it says it'll fire without the magazine in it. So let's see how she shoots. We'll go outside. Alright, I've been talking too much. Nick, you ever shot 10mm before?
Nope.
What about it?
Well, the gun itself, great. It shot really well. 10mm is a screamer of a cartridge that I am not at all used to shooting. That first shot was a bit of a jolt, but hopefully I got it a little more under control afterwards. Having the milled off hammer is weird, but that's just what they did with a lot of the law enforcement guns. The grips, I feel the grips for like a 10 mil, they're a bit bigger, but they also feel a little too narrow. It's strange. It feels a little off in my hand. But the sights are really nice, and disconnect is pretty good too. But
you mean decocker? Don't
Yeah,
feel bad. It's hard
yeah.
to get used to that on Smith & Wesson.
There's a lot of different D words you need to remember when you do firearms.
Yeah.
But yeah, the only other thing to note is how far forward the slide lock is. In order to drop it down using the slide lock, you have to kind of rotate it for how small my hands are, I guess. But you can always just rack it back in order to drop it down. But overall, I really like it. It probably wouldn't be something I'd carry, but it's fun.
If you watch the video, you'll see we had some problems. The ammunition we're using is remanufactured. So Nick had one failure that it just didn't chamber properly, and when he dropped the hammer, it didn't hit anything because it wasn't in battery. I have one failure to feed, and we checked my magazines, and literally 2 of them are so, the springs are so wimpy, it probably wouldn't feed a 22 round, let alone a 10 millimeter. This gun itself has some wear on it. The night sights are shot; they don't glow at all. But it's such a rare gun that I'm not gonna do anything with it. But what Nick brought up is one of the reasons the 10 millimeter neck caught on. Because of the length of the cartridge, you have to have a longer gun, and to compensate for the longer gun, they tried to make the grip a little thinner, which kind of results in a blocky feeling. The FBI, this gun was originally built for the FBI, and how can I say this without being politically incorrect? Females and beta males had a lot of trouble with the recoil of a 10 millimeter. That's why we ended up with the 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge, because the FBI came out with a Q load where they literally downloaded 10 millimeter to 40 Smith & Wesson specs because they couldn't handle the recoil. That being set aside, taking a shot at the feds for being pussies, that'll probably get me demonetized, but it's staying in. Nick did bring up the decocker on this gun, unless you have thumbs like mine, is pretty far ahead. What I found is on the Smith decockers, and I've only ever had one other Smith with a decocker on it, it was a left hand function.
I could just barely reach the decocker.
You really can't.
But
you have to break your grip on the gun to get it with your right hand, and that's no good. If you're in a gunfight and you want to decock and move, your left hand's there anyway. Just reach up with your thumb and push it down. But 10 millimeter, yeah, 10 millimeter. There's a reason for 10 millimeter. Thanks for coming to the channel. Thanks for checking out my 1076, which I really like, and I'm going to get new magazine springs for, amongst the many other things that broke today. Hit like and subscribe, follow us on Rumble, and see you soon.